Hello out there, all you fellow Styron users and abusers. This is George coming to you from the Basement Annex at Kitchen Table Scale Models with an update, progress on the Blue Ox Model Shop's Street Machine build. If you were happen to catch my unveiling video for this build, I had a concept in mind, and what I was attempting to do or wanted to do was take the Dart GTS and turn it into a kind of a sleeper build, very reminiscent of the Dart Swinger. And this was being done kind of as a tip of the hat to the first automobile I owned, which was a brand new 1969 Dodge Dart Swinger 340. Those of you who are not old enough to remember or are unaware, basically what the Swinger was mechanically it was identical to the base GTS, which came with a 340 4-barrel, but it had absolutely no chrome trim, bare bones interior, bench seats. I didn't even have carpet in mine. It was rubber floor mats. And it was a sleeper. I mean, it looked like a basic six-cylinder granny mobile. I even took my Dart to even another level of sleeper. You can see on the box that the GTS had a stripe around the back end, and the Swinger had a similar stripe that said Dart Swinger or something like that. And you know, I was a 17-year-old in 1969, and I was not going to run around in a car that said Swinger on it. That just was incredibly uncool. But I liked taking the stripe off and making it look like a six-cylinder. The only thing that made it look like anything other than that was the dual exhausts, and if you came up alongside of it, you saw those little hood louvers. But other than that, it looked like a six-cylinder Dart. So that was the direction I was heading. I worked on this body for probably the better part of 8 hours to remove the chrome trim around the wheel wells. There was a chrome trim across here. The rear valence panel, unlike the GTS, which had the chrome valence panel, which I have right over here, which had this chrome panel in there, it just was the back end of the trunk lid, plain metal. I took the piece from the 68 Dart, Hemi Dart, and grafted that in here. But as I was working on it, you know, I just wasn't feeling it. As I work on models sometimes to build, they kind of talk to me and they tell me what they want and what they need, and say, hey, let's do this or let's do that. And you know, I don't know, maybe it was the COVID, but this one just wasn't talking to me. So I decided to toss it aside, change gears. And instead of doing a sleeper Dart with what was originally going to be a 446 pack, I decided to stay a little truer to box stock. Although I did have a Swinger and it was a great car and I loved it, you know, I always lusted after the GTS cars because I thought they were pretty. I liked some of the trim on them, so I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to do this the way I would have really wanted my car to be if I could have had everything I wanted at 17, or at least as far as cars were concerned. But anyway, I decided to take this in a different direction. I am building a 69 Dodge Dart GTS street machine. Kind of like a day 2, maybe day 3 car, for those of you not familiar with the term. It's a car that's not 100% pure stock. It's a car that has modifications or additions that would have been commonly added very early on in its life by a young 17-year-old kid with limited resources. Common things that included would be you know, the first thing would be a set of real wheels, real mag wheels. The Dart, my car came with steel wheels and dog dish hubcaps. One of the first things I did, my first paycheck after taking delivery of the car, was yank them off and put on a set of chrome reverses with baby moons. But what I really wanted was Kragers. I just couldn't afford them. And you know, some of the other modifications you just see on a car that was maybe out of the showroom a couple of weeks would besides wheels, would, you know, maybe bigger tires, especially on the rear. Jack up the back end a little bit, because in 1969 that's what you did. You jacked up the rear. Maybe throw on a pair of cherry bombs or thrush mufflers or something like that. Yeah, it'd be a mild street machine, nothing crazy. And that's kind of the direction we're going with the GTS. This paint on this right now, this is a base coat, clear coat. I need to, as you can see, I need to do some wet sanding and gonna put another coat on it. But the paint on this is Scale Finishes. Hang on a second, I'll be back. Paint on this is Scale Finishes Dodge B5 Bright Blue. It's a base coat, clear coat. I've used several of the Scale Finishes enamels, and I kind of screwed up on this. I thought I ordered the enamel, but the enamel goes on really nice. Doesn't need any gloss coat, and I kind of that's where I was. That's what I thought I ordered, but I ordered the base coat, so I'm going to have to gloss coat it. Scale Finishes is recommending this. I've not used it. It's called a honey gloss. It looks a little bit yellow in the bottle, but according to their webpage, it dries crystal clear, and they're bold enough to say this will give you the results of a 2K urethane without spraying triethyl methyl death into the air. So that's the direction I'm going with it. Probably going to add a little bit of their hardener. I've not used it, or I have used this with some of the enamel, but I'm going to throw a little bit of this in there, and once I get a final coat on it, that's where we're going to go. One of the common things that kids did with their cars back then was, you know, again, just to make it a little distinctive, is they would tend to paint the underside of the cars, which, you know, in hindsight was pretty stupid for a car that was going to be driven on the street every day. So I've, in this case, I've got the, I got the blue on the chassis. That's been done. Interior on this is going to be kind of an off-white. Here's I've got the paint here, the rear seat interior pan painted. I'm going to mask that off and hit the carpet with a blue, and use plan is to put a little bit of embossing powder in there for the carpet. Paint on that seat is Tamiya LP39. It's called Racing White. It's really a nice color for white interiors. It's just a little bit, it's not a real stark white, it's just a little bit of an off-white. Kind of reminds me, I think, of the old Ford Wimbledon white color. I had actually ordered some engine paint, Hemi orange engine paint, which the 383s in 1969 were being painted in Hemi orange. But I got impatient and decided that this was close enough, and it really is. So I got some paint on the engine block, and got the transmission painted. Exhaust system, working on this. I've got the mufflers were painted with, actually both the mufflers and the pipes were painted with Mr. Color metal colors. The pipes are supposed to be stainless steel, and the mufflers are done in aluminum. I'm trying to get this to, there we go, that's a nice shot. The aluminum paint, the finish on this is really nice, and I love the way the aluminum look. Unfortunately, you got to be really careful handling it. It's almost like dusty, and as I was taking the masking tape, I was getting it all over my fingers. So that's the rear end there, or the exhaust. I've got some other parts here. Let's move this out of the way. Interior panels are masked off. The lower part is the white, the upper part is body color. Both of those have been done. The other piece I've done, this is the K-Member. The instructions say to paint it, a semi-gloss black or a flat black. I used again the Mr. Color lacquer, semi-gloss black. This is the first time I used this product. I usually use the Tamiya semi-gloss blacks, but I really like this. This laid on very nicely. I'll be able to pick out some of the detail on there, the suspension parts, using some other color. One of the nice things about using a lacquer for stuff like this is that it leaves me wide open for choices as far as what to use for detail painting. I don't have to worry, am I going to be putting a lacquer on top of an enamel or an acrylic and creating a mess. And in this case, I'm not. That's kind of it. I got one other little piece here. This is the, come on, focus, there we go. It's the beginning of the master cylinder. That gold color is, besides out of focus, is, come on, work there. There we go. The gold in there is Tamiya. I can't remember if it was lacquer or acrylic. I think it was acrylic. Titanium gold, which I find is a really nice color to use for anodized, gold anodized type metal, like you would have on a master cylinder booster. It's also kind of the universal color I use on carburetors. So yeah, that's it. That's painted. Making some progress on this. Got a little bit to go. Actually, got a lot to go. But so far, it's coming together nice. May get some time. My plan is to try to get this thing wet sanded and get another coat of color on it. I was debating on the stripes. I think I am going to put the GTS stripes on this. And then the only other unanswered question yet is what to do with wheels and tires. I had done a mock-up using using these Goodyear, what are they, Polyglass GTs. I think they came out of some old AMT kits. I kind of like the way they look. I just wish the tread wasn't so clunky. I think Matt Inman over Model Car Videos commented that these tires look almost like they belong on a mutter, and that's, I don't think he's far from the truth. I used these on another build recently. I used these on my '64 Comet build, and they look nice. That's kind of the direction I'm going, because I want the big and little look, and this will give it to me. I've got and of course the Cragar Super Sports, which I was never able to afford. I think I pulled these Cragar Super Sports out of one of the 66 Nova kits, which has some nice Cragar Super Sports in it. This is kind of my, I wouldn't say my first pick, but it's kind of the direction I'm heading with the wheels and tires. Optionally, I've got some of these. The Firestone wide ovals. I'm not so sure what size they're supposed to be. White letter tires were just beginning to come in 1969. They were kind of, before that, the hot setup for tires were red lines, which gets me to my third possibility. I've got these, what are they, Goodyear? I don't know what they are. Goodyear, Firestone, whatever, red line tires. L60 15s and F60 15s. The problem with that, is that they're labeled L60 15 and F60 15, and Dart had 14-inch wheels, so the rivet counters are gonna get on me about that. And I'm not so sure I like the red stripe. I don't know. I'm kind of tossed up right now between the Firestone wide ovals, which would be kind of like a stock look, if I remember right. The factory tires on my Dart were Firestone wide ovals. They came with, I think they were Easy 70 14s, and I later replaced them with F70 14s all the way around, which was the biggest tire you could put underneath the Dart at that time, without jacking it up on the back end. But anyway, that's I kind of babbling off here, but so I still need to decide on the tires. Happy with the way it's coming together. I got a little bit of crud I got to deal with on the back deck lid. It got scratched with another piece that was in the dehydrator when I popped it in there, but I'm going to take this up, wet sand it, and then one of the nice things about Scale Finishes is, you can see that bottle's, is only half full. This is like the fourth build I've used Scale Finishes on, and one of the nice things about it is that they give you enough in a bottle, really, to do 2 cars. So I got enough to put some more color on this, and I think I'm going to do just that. That scratch on that back, I don't know what happened there. I think it scratched on another piece I had of the dehydrator when I was slipping it in. But excuse me, that's kind of where we're going with this Street Machine build. I want to thank Jason for sponsoring this. It's one of those builds that I've been wanting to do probably as long as the car came out, because I owned a 69 Dart, and his invitation to do this build was just the motivation I needed to say I would build my Dart. So thank you all for watching. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. I'll survive. If you really like it a lot, please subscribe and check out some of my other videos. And yeah, keep on building.